We've all been sold a lie about AI. The lie is that the most important skill is the art of prompting. If we find the right word, the magic words that will give this machine the power to give us the perfect answer, that is a trap. The empty space that you start working with is not an opportunity, it's a vacuum. And that is the most dangerous place to start. Think about the constructing matrix, where there is this white, big, infinite space, empty, where Neo and Trinity get inside the space. They don't start talking, they start loading a program. And Neo goes like this: guns, lots of guns. That is what they need on the words. Okay, but in our reality, what we need to do is to create, to upload what is needed in for our own reality. So I got a lot of notes because I don't want to lose both track, but I want to actually address every single element that you need to understand how to build this world. So first of all, think about this blank chat. When you talk with this blank chat, that is like talking with a generic AI. That generic AI is going to give you generic answer. And this is the reason that most people don't actually like working with AI. Because it feels kind of hollow, it feels like there is no depth, there is no intelligence, because the output doesn't provide any real help to them, because it's disconnected to their world. So we need to change this. And if you've been experienced this, please share in the comment below. But think about this. So we need to turn from this generic AI into a proper partner, an AI that actually understands what we're doing, our world, has memory of us, and has memory of the work that we're doing, but also has some protocols and so on. Okay, let's go deep into this. So I recognize 5 different layers that we need to load into the AI before we can actually have an intelligence. Those layers are also what I built inside the Resonant OS, and the first one is the Constitution. Okay, the Constitution is kind of the physics of the world. Okay, it's what the world is made of, how the AI needs to work. And this is a series of elements that guide the AI. Think about them as a sort of physics of the world. Okay, meaning the AI cannot move away from them. That is the AI constitution. Then there is the philosophy. So the philosophy designed the culture and guide AI to give meaning to the data. So think about when you see data, each one of us interpret those data in a different way. We have our own worldview. That is our own personal philosophy. We need to give to AI a similar thing, a philosophy that, of course, need to be compatible with us, need to be compatible with how we work together. And that elements allow AI to interpret reality in a specific way. I suggest to use for this, if you don't have your own philosophy, or if you want to just start, to upload Cosmo Destiny augmentation philosophy. Link below so you can read and understand what they are. And then there is these other elements. The third layer is actually a history. It's basically the memory of what we have done together. This is the memory of you as a person, but also the memory of the interaction with AI. Because the journey that you do to AI, the exchange you have with AI, that with time define the elements that actually kind of fine-tuning the reality. Okay, because every time that you work with AI, you're actually testing this world. And sometimes AI needs example of how this world should work. So the memory is kind of a collection of all those elements. This is, I called it share memory log, because it's a series of log of the different experiences done, and it's a share memory because it's my interaction with AI, but also the AI points of view of the interaction. Then there is the 4 layer, which is kind of the library. Is the data and the blueprint. in this layer you upload, for example, your business plan. You upload your, I don't know, your curriculum, for example, your creative DNA, which I call it resonant DNA. So basically you upload, for example, about your project and so on. So this is the data that AI use to give meaning and understanding what you're talking about. So in somehow it's when you, in this way, when you talk with AI has those elements. He knows who you are, okay, and he knows the job you're doing and the work you're doing, and therefore understand when you ask something how it's connected to your world, to your reality. And then there is the final layer, layer 5, that which is the protocol. This is about the rule of engagement. So by working with AI, working in your project, you have defined a series of protocol and principles that allows you to actually achieve your work. But this is a way of also respecting your voice as a creative. Because the thing is, all of us, after years of working, we develop a way that people can recognize our work. This is a collection of protocol and principles. It's kind of also a kind of, I call it playbook. So all these elements allow AI to actually work in the way that respect who you are, respect your voice. And that is it's extremely important. If you start working with this, you will recognize the effect of this element. So now that page, this constructed that we saw at the beginning with Matrix, that is not an empty page anymore. Okay, now that if you give all this information to the AI, that is not empty. Now behind it, there's a really complex world. Now it's not about prompting AI anymore. It's about actually interacting with AI to define more and more about the world that you have and how these elements, whatever request you have, how that request actually work within the world. That is a kind of revolution way to work. If you've never done this before, you will see the amount of intelligence and amount of usefulness that come from interacting with AI. So this is the transformation that we need to do. Is we need to stop prompting AI, but we need to start building worlds. This is the work of Augmentatism. Augmentatism is a philosophy and framework that we use to develop this. So now I'd like you to share a couple more things. One, I'd like you to actually comment below and let me know what you're working on, if you've been doing something similar, if you discover that the system can work, for example, with less layers, with different layers, or you need more layers. And most important is one thing that I'm working a lot is the memory. Memory is something that we should look into how to develop, because the memory is such important elements that connect kind of a collection of who we are. And that memory, we don't want to give it to a private corporation. That memory should run on my own system, and that should be protected. So let me know what you're doing. And first of all, if you want to do this, there is a companion blog post. The companion blog post explains this in details, but also allows you to go deeper by accessing the Resonant OS and accessing a way to customize your Resonant OS. Thanks for staying until now. I hope you find this useful. If you like this kind of comment, if you are interested in building this in the open like I'm doing, please subscribe to this channel and see you next time. Ciao.